Caitlin Clark finished up one of the most remarkable years of basketball playing in quite some time.
62. Arenas were filled and records were broken. Changed, but the WNBA remained silent. The first season of Caitlin Clark drove a TV viewing increased by 300% and by 500%. Rise in item sales, she rewrote. History of basketball, so why did her own league appears to be ignoring?
The point that I'm really not understanding in all of this, and I feel like it's been such a pattern throughout the entire season. It feels like there are still certain people within the WNBA who want the league to grow, but they don't want it to grow if it's certain people at the face.
From performances that broke records, generating economic windfalls from contentious award shows for missed promotions, chances were exploring in the mysterious discrepancy between Clark's unquestionable influence and the WNBA's subdued reaction, but only after emotions escalated. A boiling point and the annoyance of supporters at a record-breaking peak, everything changed on December 9th. We'll disclose in this video how the league operates from the inside. Awoke at last to the sight of Caitlin Clark, impact and their actions that resulted in changes. Is this the beginning of the end for everything? How the WNBA treats its most crucial star.
My expectation is to be one of the best players in the world one day. I wouldn't expect anything less than that.
More history for the FIBA rookie.
At this point, continue to be myself, and I think a lot of good will come from that.
Imagine this, with vacant arenas, falling television ratings, and a league frantically looking for. This was the NBA's next big star. Reality prior to the arrival of Caitlin Clark. The league was struggling with annual tens of millions of dollars in losses and significant. Its company is supported by its reliance on the NBA. The model was on the verge of collapsing, and interest among fans was quickly declining.
Nobody that wants that more than I do for these players, but we have to be in the right financial position. We're not going to jeopardize the financial viability of this league. It was just a few years ago we were surviving, and now we're going from survive to thrive. So we'll do it at the appropriate time, and we've been chipping away at it every year.
The WNBA should have jumped at the opportunity to advance a generational talent, such as Clark, but she ripped up the basketball rankings in college. The league's response to World Ablaze was, it's mind-blowing to consider quiet. Approximately now, although they appeared unaware of, there is a storm approaching. The future of social media is not bright. League doesn't run any campaigns. It seems like they were deliberately avoiding the most fascinating progress in women's basketball during years as draft day drew near. The level of suspense skyrocketed as to how would the league respond to Clark's arrival? Would they at last become aware of the gold mine that they were going to acquire, or would their perplexing lack of interest continue during her first season?
With the first pick in the 2024 WNBA draft, the Indiana Fever select Caitlin Clark, University of Iowa.
The instant Clark's name was dubbed, everything changed. The most had been landed by the Indiana Fever, significant rookie in the history of the WNBA. Social media exploded as fans rejoiced. However, the league's response stayed shockingly subdued. It was as if they didn't know how to handle a celebrity. Nobody realized the enormity of Clark's. Understand that Clark's draft day was simply the beginning. What occurred next would force the WNBA will face its own limitations that nobody anticipated.
He just absolutely did it all and became a magnet for attention and an icon for sports fans, certainly little girls, certainly mine as well, playing her basketball and watching her play.
Their golden ticket was Fever, but one. A big concern was whether Caitlin Clark's outstanding performance in college moment she walked into the professionals. When she onto the floor for her first WNBA game, the weight of expectations was great, but Clark was going to demonstrate to everyone why she was the topic of discussion in the basketball world. Behind the scenes, uncertainty persisted. Analysts argued while veterans sneered. Could a rookie actually survive for years? Of exaggeration.
What will the league have in store for them when they get there?
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
Okay.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Of course.
And you see it on the NBA side, and you're going to see it on this side, where, you look superhuman playing against 18-year-olds, but you're going to come with some grown women that have been playing professional basketball for a long time.
From the moment that her incredible first season ended, Clark demonstrated that she was her first. Made a deep three that left the audience reeling. Her first preseason sent her into a frenzy. May's game versus the Dallas Wings. Third.
45 blocks last year. Clark for 3.
Clark concluded her debut with an incredible stat line of 21 points and a few highlight reels help her. The shooting touch was clearly visible, striking at a remarkable rate from both within and beyond the arc. But it wasn't. People were talking about the figures alone, the vision and capacity of Clark's court to make. Fans were left speechless by stunning passes. As the season progressed, experts were amazed. Highlights of social media's explosion. Clark's distant shots and lack of attention. Spreads like wildfire among enthusiasts who'd never looked twice at the WNBA, discovered themselves enthralled with its. The league has never witnessed a rookie phenom. This kind of excitement in years. Clark's influence went beyond her own life. Her presence on the court was brilliant. Seems to raise all of Indiana. Fever Squad, a group that has experienced trouble in recent seasons, abruptly looked revitalized, playing with fresh vitality and intent, resulting in their first presence in the playoffs for nearly 10 years.
But make no mistake, Caitlin Clark is doing things beyond her years.
Fans now and specialists alike questioned how many this young star would break records. Before the conclusion of her debut season, the statistics revealed one thing, but the eye test spoke about Clark's distinctive playing. The deep three style is the key. Drives to the basket after passing the fearless caused purists of basketball to reconsider what was conceivable, that she wasn't on a WNBA court, only posting the figures she was altering. Throughout the whole game, Clark stayed poisedly directing compliments at her coaches and teammates as the rumor from the impact of Clark's rookie season via the realm of athletics, one item, became quite evident that the WNBA had a new tickets are sold by the superstar on it. Increased sales caused items to fly off the shelves, and Caitlin Clark's television ratings surged, surpassing even the highest standards. But just as remarkable as her on-court performance was simply the Clark's effect was about to begin. Go much beyond the hardwood, changing the WNBA in ways that anyone have foreseen. That the league was about to acquire an important lesson. When you possess a talent that comes only once in a lifetime, you had best prepare yourself for the limelight.
Caitlin Clark is a superstar, not a female superstar. She is a superstar.
We were coming to see Caitlin Clark play.
She moves the needle. The WNBA has been looking for someone who moves the needle.
The presence of Clark wasn't just increasing enrollment at the Indiana Fever was changing everything. League, the figures reveal an amazing tale to audiences in Las Vegas and Washington. Reached 20,000 viewers, making it the sixth of the WNBA's greatest games ever. That on September 19th, mark the last regular season game of the Fevers, the Washington's Capital One Arena set a new attendance record for a single WNBA game, with 20,711 admirers.
And the Fever are going to be over 200,000 higher than the next highest total attendance in league history.
Clarkonomics, my friend.
Clark's. Her impact went much beyond her house court, one ticket for every 6 sold. This season in WNBA arenas might be linked to her admirers' journey to see her play across state boundaries. Even others who were unfamiliar with the WNBA. Suddenly, a second notion sprang to mind: planning. Opposing teams had to schedule road trips, more spaces to handle the increase. Many admirers hoping to witness Clark live.
Caitlin Clark effect strikes again, this time catapulting the WNBA to levels they didn't think were possible if we only look back 2 years from now.
As the time of year developed, it became evident that this wasn't only a brief period of novelty for the WNBA witnessed a first since 1999. Notable increase in total attendance, with each league team increasing Clark's star power, improved the whole sport, making the WNBA is the brand with the fastest growth in America in every industry, and even superior to the brands that you see on the supermarket. The craze in venues all across the nation sent a message that was genuinely something unique was taking place, and Clark was transforming basketball for ladies prior to our eyes. But as spectators swarmed to games and record numbers, and yet another revolution was developing, a plan that would compel the WNBA will face some awkward facts on their handling of their new. If you've reached this point and are a superstar, are having fun with the video, remember to like, to subscribe, and activate everything alerts that we are aware of when viewing this. It takes some time to watch the video, and we thank you. Let's get back to the action.
When it comes to the WNBA growth, 99% of that is Caitlin Clark, make no mistake about it.
Suppose a league was endowed with a one-of-a-kind talent that appears to unwilling to accept her as the young. The celebrity filled in the record books and arenas are the NBA's marketing tool. Stayed uncannily silent. Was this a well-thought-out plan or a mistake that will return to torment them as she? Heroes on the court enthralled spectators, and the NBA's response, as reported by the media, was surprisingly subdued, unglamorous marketing. There were no social media blitzes or campaigns, as though the league was unsure about what pertaining to its new superstar.
I thought it was going to get better this season, but it hasn't. There are still people who seemingly, to me, feel like they just don't want Caitlin to be a part of it. Because with Caitlin comes millions and millions and millions of more eyeballs.
Consider that she was breaking recordings, causing an unprecedented ticket viewership and revenues. But where were the highlight reels created by the WNBA? The merchandising pushes the main stories. The miss was being deafened by quiet. Opportunities for her talk show were plentiful. Forbes has no WNBA affiliations. Acknowledgment, hardly a whisper from the league. They appeared to be actively staying out of the attention that comes with reached her as the time of year. As things developed, fans and the media began to observe. Questions started to arise about why didn't the WNBA take advantage of her popularity among the league's members. Remarks that just made things more confusing. Kathy Engelbert, the commissioner, has repeatedly highlighted team competitions and the collective expansion as opposed to individual star power. It was a position that caused many people to question their heads, particularly considering the UN's debatable influence on viewership and attendance.
I noticed when you're asking about Caitlin a lot, you bring up other rookies as well.
No league's ever about one player. That player could get hurt or whatever. So I think it's just to give recognition that in sports, people watch for compelling content and rivalries. And you can't do that alone as one person.
However, no one embodied the WNBA's perplexing greater degree of approach than the rookie of the. Instead of a year-end celebration, imagine this. A grand occasion worthy of a momentous time. The prize was given out at a team. Just practice, without any fanfare or media circus. A brief talk followed by a picture was an instance that ought to have been honoring her contributions to the league. Rather, it seemed to be an afterthought.
These ladies, and I'm a WNBA fan, they cannot have this Caitlin Clark thing up any worse if they try.
The reaction was swift, and her admirers used social media too. Media voicing their incredulity, and sports commentators were disappointed, similarly perplexed when challenging the WNBA's marketing plan or lack thereof. As the criticism grew, it became evident that the disconnect has to be caused by something between her indisputable celebrity and the WNBA's unwillingness to accept it was. Fans were approaching a boiling pitch, eager for more attention and material of her accomplishments, further celebration of. She added excitement to the game. How much longer could the WNBA keep this up? Would they eventually awaken from their odd silence up to what she was doing or would do? They keep missing out on opportunities away as the pressure appeared to increase. It was inevitable that things would change. The only query was what shape it would take. Consider if it would be too little, too late.
Yeah, I think it can't be overstated enough, like what she did to bring eyes to that.
The WNBA's unexpected embrace. Shocked by Caitlin Clark's celebrity power. Both admirers and onlookers following months of. The league has finally experienced relative quiet. Chose to highlight Clark as their rookie week's cornerstone. Campaign. This significant change left many questioning whether it was too late to cape eyes. This Instagram was the first thing that affected her. Following the first instance in which the WNBA has applauded Clark's remarkable rookie performance season. Even if this does not include all 62, it includes all of her most well-known ones. We'll include a link so that everyone may see it. The remarks for an exhaustive list of her records and accomplishments that followed was there. Clark is now included on the redesigned website, on the WNBA's main screen after their publication of the 2025 season schedule. The Indiana Fever schedule, speaking. Clark's squad would be heavily featured. The schedule for the next season. Highlight a season opening on prime time, matching Angel Reese with Clark and the Chicago skyline with a significant network coverage. The Fever schedule was jam-packed, with Clark being placed in marquee matches. The limelight all season long. This method stood in sharp contrast to the last year and maybe indicated the dedication of the NBA to the Caitlin. In the Clark era, the WNBA is at last completely accepting the possibility of Clark's star power. For women's basketball seems to have no limits. As the 2025 season drew near, the WNBA's survival is still up in the air. This momentum.
Such an incredible moment on a global scale for our game, for our players.
It's like the fans are absolutely incredible. It's the same when we go on the road. Like there's so many people that are showing up in Fever gear. It's really affecting, teams all across our league, which is a really great thing. And, really, I think we're just scratching the surface.
The influence of Caitlin Clark went beyond, far away from the basketball court, transforming women's economics. Clark made $1.10 in basketball in 2024 million, making her one of the most highest paid female athletes as well as the greatest in the WNBA, with an incredible 95% originating from Clark's endorsements. Presence changed the WNBA's terrain. The Indiana Fever saw historic attendance of around 177,000 on average spectators per match in her first season. With Clark's games, TV ratings skyrocketed, generating 1.2 million on average, triple the number of views compared to games. Her financial influence on the projected cost of Indianapolis alone was $36 million in a single year.
We're bringing more and more fans to this league, people that have maybe never watched the WNBA before, and it kind of takes your breath away at points.
However, Clark's impact extended too. In addition to financial indicators, she sparked young players from a new generation. NBA leagues are reporting notable increases in Hall of Famer enrollment. Nancy Lieberman mentioned the influence of Clark might elevate the WNBA as a whole, perhaps resulting in increased pay for every participant in the next collective agreements for bargaining.
What Caitlin Clark has done for the game is generational, and I just, as a baller to a baller, I just want to say thank you to you, Caitlin Clark.
Absolutely.
For just lifting our game up, you and so many great players. But what you're doing, you're going to make all these women multimillionaires one day, like Tiger did, like Michael Jordan did. And we shouldn't hate on her We should celebrate her, not tolerate her.
As the basketball rookie season came to an end, how could the world look to the future, sustain the momentum that analysts anticipated? Her impact would only increase, maybe changing the WNBA in certain respects, like Michael Jordan and Larry Bird, and Magic Johnson changed the NBA. Imagine Caitlin Clark just after setting rookie season records in the WNBA had extremely high standards for her. Fans of the sophomore year questioned whether she could surpass her amazing debut. Clark's performance during the offseason, grinding with the intention of returning even. The Indiana Fever made moves that were stronger. Additionally, they upended their management group, providing coaching personnel with the assurance that bring in seasoned free agents. January in order to prepare for their upcoming. New attacking strategies were created for the Stars to highlight Clark's abilities.
The future is so bright, and our ultimate goal is to hang another banner in the field house. And our ultimate goal is to come back in here after we win that championship and celebrate again like we did in 2012.
Experts forecast significant developments for Clark's, but Clark had her sights set for the second year. Higher further, she discussed having the desire to win a title and pursuing more documentation of her resolve. Eyes spoke louder than words could in records. As the new season begins, Clark breaks next. Approaches the basketball world held its. Would Clark survive his second year? Could she truly live up to the hype? Change the WNBA in the manner that Jordan altered the NBA, but only time will tell. Caitlin Clark was confident of one thing: broadening the boundaries of women's athletics.
But she also did it with the spotlight on her at a very young age. Fame is hitting this young lady's life. And very, very rarely did I see a misstep or something that I wouldn't want to show my daughter. Literally every step of the way, it's just like, watch her, watch how she plays, watch how she handles her business.
The first season for Caitlin Clark she broke something truly amazing. Records sent TV and packed arenas. Ratings skyrocketing, Clark became the spokesperson for an emerging league that is assisting in propelling the WNBA will expand at the quickest rate in America. Brand, but this is where things start to become extremely exciting. This seems like starting with Clark in the forefront. Women's basketball is on the verge of significant growth. We're referring to increased pay, more publicity, and a rise in fan. Are you prepared for what's to come? Upcoming as we anticipate the future seasons, Caitlin Clark is certain of one thing: is not just a well-known athlete, but she is also driving force behind change, advancing women's basketball to unprecedented heights and motivation. An entire generation of athletes and supporters. Please let us know if you agree along the way. Remarks such as subscribe and turn on every alert to ensure you don't miss. Click the video that appears on the screen and I'll see you at the following one.